Why does Reed Richards give a shit if the Fantastic Four are celebrities? We see a PR firm discussing the First Family and how they became who they were and how they kicked off an age of marvels. Here recently, people have just lost interest in the Fantastic Four. Their licensing revenue is down 22%. Their comic books aren't selling. Hell, they're getting passed up on interviews they should easily land because nobody wants to hear from them. The firm sends one of their employees in to spend a week with the family. They start off with a small interdimensional journey, nothing major. As they return home, he sees firsthand how they balance their crazy lives with their family. He watches as they make repairs to the Baxter Building. He sees them called in to avert disasters. And on this particular one, he watches as Reed lectures a group of geniuses on the dangers of the experiment they were running. We find out that this particular think tank is called the Cause Cerebral, something that Reed has attended every year since he was 17, except for this year, he wasn't invited. About halfway through the week, the PR rep, Schertzer, starts to get a feel for who this family is. You know, Johnny's interested in cars, Sue's invested in being a mother, Ben probably watches too much WWE. They're all adventurers, but none of them by nature. But when Reed wants to examine a civilization living on the side of an electron, they all jump in without hesitation. He continues to watch as they interact with people, as they spend time as a family, but even yet we still see Sue confused as to why Reed wants this PR stuff in the first place. She for the life of her can't figure out why Reed would ever care. At the end of the week, we see Schertzer examining the new Fantastic Four comic and telling them that they've got it all wrong. He tells them it's not about the costumes because these guys aren't really superheroes. Astronauts, explorers, adventurers, frontiersmen, trailblazers. Sure, if Galactus shows up, they're gonna give him a good ass-kicking, but they don't go out on patrol. That's not who they are. And yeah, while they've been around a while, the only thing old about the Fantastic Four is that they never stop bringing civilization into the new. His advice is to make people care about who the Fantastic Four are. The people, not the costumes, not the superheroes. And then the citizens will start to care. The one thing that still befuddles Schertzer through all of this is why a man like Reed Richards would ever care about the spotlight. As we see Reed playing with his little girl Val, he says he's going to tell her a secret, one that apparently everybody wants to know. He tells her that once upon a time there was a genius, and then he starts again and says, a very bright man, and then looks at a picture of his family. He starts the story over saying once upon a time there was a very arrogant man who did something very stupid. We find out that the Cause Cerebral didn't forget to invite Reed, but he declined the invitation as he wanted to spend time with his daughter. He continues his bedtime story. He tells her that without proper shielding, this arrogant man led the people he loved the most into a field of radiation that changed their lives forever. His guilt was unbelievable, but it was deserved because he turned the people he loved the most into freaks, into lab rats, unless he changed their fate somehow. Unless he made the world see them for what they really were, the bravest people he's ever known. Reed refused to let them operate in secret. He threw them in ridiculous costumes, made them all pick silly names, drove them around in a flying car, and based them right in the heart of New York City. He tells Val that Mr. Fantastic isn't a name that anybody wants to call themselves, but it looks good on headlines and it sells t-shirts and action figures. Because glamour and fame weren't options, they were necessary, and they would keep people from fearing and hating them. And as he puts Val down to bed for the night, he says that maybe, by turning his friends into celebrities, he can be forgiven for taking away their normal lives. Someday.